Question 17. You need to know the equation for a box, which is also called a rectangular prism or a rectangular solid. The formula is V equals L times W times H, length times width times height. For this problem, just plug in the numbers and solve. 30 times 45 times H equals 81,000. So if you divide both sides by 30 and by 45, you get H equals 60. Answer B. This is probably the only volume equation that you'll be required to know for this test. Question 18. Counterclockwise is to the left and clockwise is to the right. Draw a circle and put A on the circle. Then enter the other points. B is to the left of A, C is to the right of A, and D is farther to the right of A than C is. So from A clockwise, the points are A, C, D, and B. Answer J. Question 19. This is just a calculator problem. Remember PEMDAS, exponents before multiplication. So if t equals 5, 2 to the 5th power equals 32, and y equals 16 times 32 equals 512. Answer D. Question 20. Just pick convenient numbers for this one. Remember that a square is just a special rectangle. So let's let the length and width both be 1 of the smaller rectangle. So the area of the smaller rectangle is 1. 1 times 1. The area of the larger rectangle is 1 times 3, because the length is 3 times the length of the smaller rectangle. So the area of the larger rectangle is 3, or 3 times the smaller rectangle, so K equals 3. Answer J. Question 21. This is just a matter of distributing and combining terms. But be careful. The second parenthesis has to be distributed to -1. So you end up with A plus 2B plus 3C minus 4A minus 6B plus 5C. Combine to get answer E. Question 22. This is a trigonometry question. You must know SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA. Sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent equals opposite over adjacent. The sine of theta is the opposite over hypotenuse, A over C, answer G. Question 23. Put 5 points around a circle and call them A, B, C, D, and E. Start with A, who must pass to either C or D, because B and E are next to him. C must pass to E, because he can't pass to an adjacent player or the one who passed it to him. E must pass to B, who must pass to D, who must pass to A on the 5th pass. Answer B. Question 24. The equation for line P is in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, b is the y-intercept. So the slope of line P is 0.12. The slope of line N is 0.1 greater. That means add 0.1 to 0.12, and you get 0.22. Answer H. Question 25. This is a matter of distributive functions plus manipulating exponents. Also, remember to keep the signs straight. When you multiply x to the 3rd power times x to the 6th power, you add the exponents. So the result is x to the 9th power. Question 25. This is a matter of distributive function plus exponents plus keeping the signs straight. When you multiply x to the 3rd power times x to the 6th power, you add the exponents. So x to the 3rd times x to the 6th is x to the 9th. So the first term is negative 56 x to the 9th. The second term is positive because you're multiplying a negative times a negative. And the second term is positive 24 x to the 8th power. Answer A. Question 26. Absolute value is the positive value of what's inside the absolute value signs. The absolute value of negative 6 plus 8 is the absolute value of plus 2, which is just 2. Now you multiply by -3 to get -6, answer G. Notice that the absolute value comes first, just like parentheses would. Question 27. This is a similar triangle problem. Similar figures have congruent angles and proportional sides. Because BD is parallel to AE, the two triangles are similar. All the corresponding angles are equal and the sides are proportional. So set up the proportion. Before we can do that, we have to find the third side of the small triangle. That triangle has legs 3 and 4, so the hypotenuse is 5. You can do this by the Pythagorean theorem, but you should know some of the simple Pythagorean triplets. 3, 4, and 5 is the simplest one. So our proportion is 20 over 5 equals x over 3. We cross multiply and solve, and x equals 12. Answer B. Question 28. If you don't recognize that the function starts with 14 and goes up by 5 with each increment of a second, you can back solve by using values from the chart. If you try 0 and 14, only answers F and H work. And if you try 1 and 19, only H works. So the answer is H. Question 29. You do the same thing with inequalities that you do with equations, with one exception. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, you flip the inequality sign. So combining terms here, you get negative x is greater than negative 47. Now divide both sides by -1 and flip the sign. You get x is less than 47. Answer E. Question 30. First, look at the answers. The answers are all integers. So the square has to be aligned with sides parallel to the x and y axes. Otherwise, we'd end up with a fractional value for one of the coordinates. Now, the only possibilities are 3 units up or down, or 3 units left or right. Those possibilities are 5 and 0, -1 and 0, 2 and 3, and 2 and -3. Only 5 and 0 is one of the choices. Answer K. Question 31. This is a simple Pythagorean theorem problem. Y squared equals x squared plus 4 squared. Take the square root of both sides. The square root of y squared is y. The square root of x squared plus 16 is just the square root of x squared plus 16. You can't simplify it any further, so the correct answer is answer E. Question 32. This is a fairly hard probability question to solve algebraically, but you can back solve. Normally you start with the middle number, so let's try 28. There are 32 marbles to start with. If you add 28 red marbles, the ratio becomes 40 to 60. 12 plus 28 divided by 32 plus 28. Well, that's not 3/5. Actually, it's more than 3/5. So we overshot. So let's try 18. We need a smaller number. When we try 18, it gives us 30. 12 plus 18 divided by 50, 32 plus 18, which is 3/5. Answer G. Question 33. Draw yourself a graph of this line. The easiest way to do that is to plot the intercepts. The y-intercept is where x equals 0, so it's the point 0, -4. The x-intercept is where y equals 0, so it's the point 2 and 0. Draw the line, and you can see it goes through quadrants 1, 3, and 4, which is answer D. Question 34. When you're in doubt, just put values into some equation that you know. In this case, just plug the values of the point, which you know satisfies this equation, into the equation. So then we have 2a equals -5 plus 9, which you can easily solve for a equals 2. Answer F. Question 35. If Jerome and Kevin ate 1/2 plus 1/3 of the sandwich, then Seth got 1/6. Put everybody's share in sixths. Jerome had 3/6, Keith had 2/6, and Seth had 1/6. So the ratios are 3 to 2 to 1. Answer D. Question 36. The equation of a circle on a graph is quantity x minus h squared plus quantity y minus k squared equals r squared. Here r is the radius, and the center of the circle is at the point with coordinates h, k. So here, h equals 5 and k equals 0, and r has to equal the square root of 38. Answer F is correct. Question 37. The total perimeter obviously has two segments that are each 8. The rest of the perimeter consists of two semicircles, which is the same as one circle, with diameter 8. You must know the formula for the circumference of a circle. C equals pi d. So the total perimeter is 16 plus 8 pi. Answer B. Question 38. All of the triangles in this figure have the same area. If you split the white box in half either direction, you get two triangles of one kind or two triangles of the other kind. So the two different shapes of triangles have to be of the same area. Since EFGH is composed of two triangles, and the shaded area is 6 triangles, the ratio is 2 to 6, or 1/3. Question 39. The coordinates of a midpoint are just the averages of the coordinates of the endpoints. So the x-coordinate of the midpoint is 14 minus 4, which is 10, divided by 2, which is 5. Answer C. If you had been asked the y-coordinate of the midpoint, it would be 2 minus 2, which is 0, divided by 2, which is 0. Question 40. First of all, let's decide what they mean by an 8-inch cube. An 8-inch cube is one that has side measurements of 8 inches. So each face of the cube has an area of 64 inches. A cube has 6 faces, so the total area is 6 times 64, which is 384. Answer G.